You've been told to shrink, to hide, to cower in the face of your challenges. But let me make one thing clear. You are not weak. What you've been carrying, what you've endured, it's not a burden. It's a reflection of the power that pulses through your veins, waiting for the moment to rise. You've let them convince you that your struggles define you, that your failures are all you are. But I'm here to tell you the truth. They've feared you all along. They've feared the power you haven't even unleashed yet. And that fear you've put in their hearts, it's your potential in disguise. Right now, you might be staring at your reflection and questioning if you have anything left. You might feel the weight of your failures, your mistakes, your losses. Maybe you've been left in the dust, overlooked by those who said you didn't have what it takes. But listen, everything they've ever told you is a lie. They told you you were too much, too loud, too bold. They wanted you to believe that your fire was a curse. But what they couldn't see, what they'll never see, is that the fire that burns in you is the very thing they fear. The fear they have of you is not a reflection of your weakness. It's a reflection of their own limitations. They feared your strength before you even knew you had it. They feared your mind, your heart, your will, long before you even recognized your own power. They called you a dreamer, a fool, a person destined to fail. But they didn't know that you were already planting the seeds of your own victory. They couldn't fathom that the very things they feared most were the things that would set you free. And it's time for you to realize that power, it's been within you all along, buried beneath layers of doubt, shame, and fear. The truth is, every time they told you that you weren't enough, every time they doubted your dreams, they were speaking not to you, but to the fear inside them. Because it's not you who's been defeated, it's their belief in your defeat that's been shattered. And every time they put you down, you grew stronger. It's in those moments, those seemingly hopeless times, that your inner strength was forged. They can't undo the fear you've planted in their hearts. That fear, it's their undoing. And it's your signal that it's time to stand tall, to rise, and to remind the world of your power. They thought they could break you. They thought they could control you, diminish you. But here you are, still standing, still breathing, and still holding that power. That fear is proof of something you've always known deep down, that you're meant for more than what they've told you. You are not meant to be their shadow. You were born to cast your own. The world has never seen someone like you, and it will never forget the fear you've awakened in them. The ones who tried to break you are the ones who will tremble when they realize they didn't destroy you. They created the very force that will bring them to their knees. You are on the edge of something monumental. The struggle you've endured, the pain you've carried, has all been leading to this moment. The time has come for you to step out of the darkness and claim your power. And as you do, you will see that the world doesn't control you. It's always been your turn to take control. The fear they have of you is no longer a weapon they hold, it's a weapon in your hands. The time is now. It's time to rise and make them understand that the fear they've been running from is nothing compared to the power that's about to be unleashed. So hold your head high, own your power, and remember, they can't undo the fear you've put in their hearts. That fear is your victory, and it's only the beginning. You've felt it, haven't you? That crushing weight in your chest, the constant doubt that whispers in your ear like a shadow, always lurking, always waiting for a chance to strike. You try to push it away, try to ignore the voices that say you're not good enough, not smart enough, not worthy of the life you dream of. But it's there, and it eats away at you, piece by piece, until all you can hear is the sound of your own insecurities echoing in the silence. Every time you take a step forward, it feels like the ground crumbles beneath you. You've tried to rise above, to push past the limitations others have placed on you, but there's always something holding you back. Maybe it's the past that won't let go, the mistakes you made, the chances you didn't take, the things you should have done but didn't. Maybe it's the weight of expectations, the world telling you who you should be, what you should have accomplished by now, how you should look, what you should feel. Or maybe it's the invisible enemy, those doubts that creep into your mind and make you second-guess everything. Am I good enough? Do I deserve to be happy? Why can't I just get it right? These battles are yours alone, aren't they? They may seem invisible to the outside world, but to you, they're as real as the air you breathe. The fear of failure haunts your every decision. The constant pressure to be perfect, to prove that you matter, to show the world that you're capable. It's a never-ending fight. And the hardest part? It feels like no one sees it. No one sees the tears you've shed in silence, the nights you've spent questioning your worth, the self-doubt that clings to your every action. No one sees the fight that rages inside you. But it's time to face the truth. This struggle, this feeling of never being enough, is not your fault. It was never yours to carry. You didn't create the stories they've told you, the expectations they've placed on your shoulders, or the doubts they've planted in your mind. These are not your truths. These are the truths that others have forced upon you. And that's where the villain lies. It's not just the voices around you, though they've had their say. The real villain is the lie that you've started to believe. It's the lie that you are less than, that you are not worthy, that you are broken in some way that can never be fixed. You see, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that these struggles define you. It's easy to believe that because you've failed before, you'll fail again. To believe that every time you try, something will go wrong. That the world is against you, that life is a constant battle, and that happiness is just a fleeting dream, out of reach. But that's not the truth. Your mistakes do not define you. Your past does not hold you prisoner. Your doubts are the chains you've placed on yourself, and you have the power to break them. Let me remind you, you are not the sum of your failures. The mistakes you've made, the wrong turns you've taken, they were lessons, not sentences. You've been carrying around the weight of all these past choices like they're shackles, holding you down, keeping you from moving forward. But the truth is, they are the very things that will propel you into the person you are meant to become. Every misstep, every setback, every struggle is a piece of your puzzle, a piece of the story that makes you stronger. The problem isn't that you failed, it's that you've allowed those failures to write your story, to define you, to convince you that you are less than. Society has fed you these lies. It told you that you had to follow a certain path, to look a certain way, to measure your worth by what others think of you. They told you that success is a straight line, that your worth is based on your title, your salary, your appearance. They've given you a roadmap for a life that isn't even yours. They've forced you to compare your journey to theirs, to make yourself smaller, quieter, less visible. But their roadmap isn't yours to follow. It was never meant to be. And somewhere along the way, you believed it. You believed that you had to fit into their mold. You believed that you had to chase their version of success. You started measuring yourself by their standards. And with every comparison, you felt yourself fall short. You watched others move ahead, and you wondered why it was so easy for them. You thought they had something you didn't, but the truth is, they're not better than you. They just had the courage to stop looking at the map and start trusting their own direction. But here's the thing. Your story doesn't have to end here. This pain you're feeling right now, this weight that's been holding you down, it's not where the story ends. This is the moment you've been waiting for. This is the turning point, the shift you've needed to move from victimhood to self-awareness. Because the truth is, you've been looking at the wrong things all along. You've been focusing on the obstacles, the fears, the mistakes. You've been giving your energy to the things that hold you back, and in doing so, you've forgotten the one thing that's always been in your control: you. Now, I know it's not easy to shift your perspective. I know it's hard to let go of the pain, to release the guilt, the shame, the fear that's kept you stuck. But the moment you realize that these struggles are not who you are, that the mistakes you've made are simply part of your journey, not the end of it, that's when everything changes. That's when people go to you for answers, not the opposite. That you're not stupid, that you're not who you are, that the mistakes you've made are simply part of your journey, not the end of it. That's when everything changes, when you realize that the mistakes you've made are simply part of your journey, not the end of it. That's when everything changes, when you realize that the mistakes you've made are simply part of your journey, not the end of it. You are not a failure, you are a fighter. You've been through hell and you're still standing. You've been knocked down and you've gotten back up every time. And every time you've fallen, you've learned. Every time you've stumbled, you've grown stronger. The truth is, this is not the end of your story. This is just the beginning. You may not see it yet, but your pain is the foundation of your strength. You are no longer the victim of your circumstances. You are the architect of your future. You hold the power to reshape your story, to reclaim your worth, and to move forward with courage and purpose. The doubts, the fears, the mistakes, they are just the fuel you need to rise. And now that you know the truth, now that you see the lies for what they are, you can take that first step into the future you deserve. The journey to empowerment begins now. It feels as though the walls are closing in, doesn't it? Like no matter which way you turn, there's no escape, no way out. The weight of the world presses down on you, and you find yourself caught in a constant storm of doubt, fear, and frustration. You wake up each day, not knowing how to move forward, wondering if there's even a point to trying anymore. The struggle has become all-consuming, and with every step you take, it feels like you're sinking deeper into the quicksand of your own emotions. The dreams you once had feel like distant echoes, fading with each passing day, and you wonder, Is this really all there is? The pain is suffocating. Every part of you, every fiber of your being is exhausted, and the hardest part? You're not sure how to ask for help or if anyone would even understand what you're going through. You feel so alone in this struggle, so invisible, as if the world has forgotten you exist. You've been shouting for help in your own way, whether with your actions, your silence, or your tears. But nothing changes. People look at you, but they don't see you. They don't understand what's happening beneath the surface, where you're fighting battles that no one else can see. Maybe it's your job, the constant feeling of inadequacy gnawing at you as you try to prove that you're good enough, only to fall short again and again. Perhaps it's a relationship, one that's drained you emotionally, leaving you with nothing but the remnants of what once was. Or maybe it's something deeper, a quiet, persistent voice that whispers to you that you're unworthy of love, of success, of happiness. Every attempt you make to claw your way out of the darkness seems futile. You try to keep going, to push forward, but it feels like you're walking through mud, every step heavy and laborious. And the more you try to move, the more you struggle, the more you believe that there is no way out. The world seems to have conspired against you. The past keeps knocking at your door, pulling you back into the same cycles of regret and disappointment. And the future? Well, it feels as though it's slipping further and further away. You've given everything you have, but it never seems to be enough. It's easy to believe that your situation is beyond repair, that you've reached the end of the road, that you're not capable of change, that you've exhausted every option and now you're stuck in this endless loop. The isolation is almost unbearable. The silence is deafening. You feel like you're drowning and no one seems to notice. Maybe you've lost friends who once made you feel seen, or maybe you've distanced yourself from everyone because, quite frankly, it's too hard to explain what's going on inside your head. How do you tell someone that you don't even recognize the person in the mirror anymore? How do you admit that you're afraid? Afraid that you'll never be enough. Afraid that you'll keep failing, that no matter how hard you try, you'll never make it to the other side. You've convinced yourself that your worth is tied to your achievements, that the value you bring to the world can be measured by how successful you are, by how much you've accomplished, by how many people see you as worthy. But what happens when the things you've worked so hard for crumble around you? What happens when everything you've built feels fragile, like it's just a house of cards that could fall with the slightest gust of wind? And then the questions start to flood in. What if I'm not meant for success? What if this is all I'm capable of? What if I'll never break free of this pain? You've become so consumed by the weight of your own despair that it's hard to see a way out. And the more you look for answers, the more elusive they become. It's a vicious cycle. The more you try to fix things, the more broken everything seems to become. The more you push, the more exhausted you get, and the further away the light feels. You feel trapped in a story that you don't want to be part of anymore, as if everything you've ever done or ever hoped for is a lie, a dream that was never meant to come true. You've hit rock bottom, and the depth of that despair is unbearable. But here's the thing, you're not alone in this. And more importantly, this is not the end of your story. I know that right now, it's hard to believe that things can get better. It's hard to even imagine a future where you feel at peace, where you feel whole again. But I'm telling you, right now, that the very fact you're still standing, the very fact that you're still breathing through this pain, it means you're not defeated, you're surviving. You may not see it yet, but there's a glimmer of light in the darkness. It's small, maybe, almost imperceptible, but it's there. It's the fact that you're still here, still willing to fight, even when everything feels hopeless. It's the fact that, despite all the pain, you haven't given up completely. That's your strength, even if you can't see it right now. You're not as lost as you think. That light, however faint, is the beginning of something greater. It's the spark that will eventually ignite a fire, and from that fire you will rise. You just have to believe, even for a moment, that you can rise. So let's take a moment, even amidst the overwhelming darkness, to acknowledge that light. It's there, deep inside you. And though the road ahead feels impossible, know this: you are not as broken as you feel. This struggle will not define you forever. And one day, you will look back at this moment, at this very depth of despair, and realize that it was the catalyst for your transformation. You may not believe that now, but it's true. And that truth will guide you through this darkness, even when it seems like there's no way out. In the deepest darkness, there is a quiet truth waiting to be unearthed. When you feel as if everything is falling apart, when it seems like the world has left you behind, the most remarkable thing happens. The seed of change is planted. It is small, almost imperceptible at first, hidden beneath layers of doubt, fear, and pain. But it's there, and it has been there all along, waiting for you to acknowledge it, to nurture it, to let it grow. This is the turning point. This is where the narrative shifts. This is where, despite everything you've been through, you begin to realize something that no one can take from you. You are not as powerless as you've been made to believe. You have the strength within you to rise. It was never lost. It's always been there, quietly waiting for the right moment to awaken. The question is, will you recognize it? You've been through so much, endured so many battles, and yet you're still here. And in that very survival is a power that the world has tried to strip from you, but has never succeeded in taking away. Survival is not the same as living. You've survived, yes, but now it's time to truly live, to rise from the ashes of all the things that have tried to destroy you. Imagine, for a moment, the very earth beneath your feet. When you look at the surface, it seems solid and unyielding, unchanging. But beneath the surface, there is a hidden world of movement, of growth, of life that is constantly transforming. Just as the earth holds the power to sprout new life after a harsh winter, so too do you. Even in the most barren, harsh conditions, growth is possible. Think of a seed. It lies dormant in the soil for what seems like an eternity, unseen, untouched, and yet it holds all the potential to one day break through the surface and reach toward the sun. That seed doesn't question its ability to grow, it simply knows. And just as that seed is nourished by the soil, the rain, and the sun, you too have everything you need within you to rise. You are that seed. The struggles you've faced, the weight you've carried, the pain you've endured, they are the soil that has been preparing you. The darkness you've felt, that's the very place where your growth begins. You've been planted in the depths, in the place where it seems there is no light, but that's where your transformation begins. Every tear you've shed, every battle you've fought, has been the water that nourishes you, pushing you towards something greater than you ever thought possible. You might not see it yet, but you are already growing. You are already changing. The very fact that you are still here, still breathing, still pushing through, means that something inside you is awakening. It's subtle, but it's there. That dormant strength, that quiet power within you is beginning to stir. It's as if your soul is whispering to you, telling you that you are capable of so much more than you've allowed yourself to believe. You've spent so long doubting your own potential, letting the world's judgment shape your view of yourself. But no one else can dictate your potential. Not your past, not the opinions of others, not the weight of societal expectations. You are the only one who defines what you are capable of. You've been living in the shadow of someone else's version of success, someone else's vision of what you should be, but that is not your truth. Your potential is limitless, and it's time for you to begin embracing that. Think about the way a plant grows. It doesn't question its ability to reach for the sun, it simply does. It pushes through the dirt, through the rocks, through the hard soil that once held it back. You too can push through. You too have the ability to break free from the constraints that have been placed on you. And just like that plant, once you break through, once you stretch your roots and reach toward your own version of the sun, you will flourish. It's easy to believe that the darkest moments of your life are the end, that they define you. But that is not the case. Those moments, as painful as they were simply the starting points of your transformation. The seed does not stay in the soil forever. Eventually it rises, and so will you. The more you allow yourself to believe in your own strength, to nurture that quiet voice inside you that says, yes, you can do this, the more you will feel that spark of transformation igniting within you. You may not have the full picture right now. You may not see the vast landscape of your potential in its entirety. But that's okay. The process of growth isn't always immediate, and it isn't always visible. But it is happening just beneath the surface, and soon enough, it will burst through. Your growth may be slow at first, but the momentum will build, and one day, you'll look back and realize that you've come further than you ever imagined possible. What you need to understand now is that you have always been capable of greatness. Your fears, your struggles, your setbacks, they don't define your future. They are simply part of your journey. They are the stepping stones that have been preparing you for this very moment. That you are not what you've been through. You are what you have the power to become. And the most important thing to remember is this: no one else can dictate your potential. They can try to hold you back, they can try to label you, but their judgment does not define you. You are the only one who gets to decide what you are capable of. No matter what the world has told you, no matter what you've been led to believe, you are limitless. Your journey is about rediscovering that limitless power within yourself. It's about shedding the layers of doubt, fear, and insecurity that have been keeping you small. It's about looking in the mirror and seeing the person you were always meant to be, not the person others have told you to be, not the person defined by your mistakes or your past, but the person who has the courage to rise, to push forward, and to claim your place in this world. The world may have tried to strip you of your confidence, of your power, of your self-worth, but you are not the world's to define. You have the power to define yourself. And in this moment, you can choose to stop living by others' standards, by others' beliefs, and start living according to your own truth. You can choose to embrace your potential, to see the strength within you, and to let that strength guide you to the life you've always dreamed of. The seeds of change have already been planted. Now, it's time for you to rise, to reach for the light that is waiting for you, to begin the journey of rediscovering everything you are capable of. You've always had it within you. You've just needed the courage to trust in it. And now is that time. The light may seem small right now, but it's enough. It's all you need to take that first step. And once you take that step, the rest will follow. The darkness is temporary. The growth, the transformation, it is permanent. And it begins now. You are the hero of your own story. You are not just a victim of your circumstances or a casualty of life's battles. You are the protagonist, the one who will determine the outcome. It's time to stop waiting for someone else to give you permission to rise. It's time to stop waiting for the person. It's time to stop seeking validation from the outside world. The only validation you need is from within. The only strength you need to tap into is the strength you've always had, buried deep inside you. This is your moment of transformation. This is where you step into the light of your own power, where you reclaim the narrative and decide what happens next. You are not powerless. You are not weak. You are stronger than you realize, and now is the time to awaken that strength. You've been through so much, fought so many battles, endured so many wounds, and for so long you've looked at those wounds as signs of weakness. But what if I told you those scars aren't signs of defeat? What if I told you that every wound you've sustained has made you stronger? Every scar is a testament to your resilience, every setback a step forward on your journey to greatness. Pain is not the enemy. Pain is fuel. The hurt, the rejection, the failures, they are the raw materials that will forge you into someone who is unstoppable. Without those struggles, without those moments where you felt like giving up, you wouldn't be who you are today. Those wounds are the marks of your evolution. Every time you picked yourself up from the ground, every time you kept fighting when it seemed easier to surrender, you became more powerful. You became the version of yourself that the world will one day fear. You have already faced some of the hardest battles imaginable. You've been knocked down, broken, abandoned. You felt the sting of betrayal, the weight of failure, the crushing blow of disappointment. But here you are, still standing, still breathing. And in that, you've already proven your resilience. You've already shown that nothing can break you. But here's the thing, you don't just survive those battles. You learn from them. You grow stronger with every misstep, every mistake, every heartache. That pain has shaped you. It has molded you into someone who is unbreakable. And now you have a choice. You can continue to let your past define you, or you can use everything you've been through as fuel for the future you want to create. The choice is yours, and I'm telling you now, it's time to choose to rise. Stop looking at your struggles as setbacks. Stop seeing them as obstacles. They are stepping stones. They are the tests that have prepared you for the greatness that is waiting for you on the other side. Every time you stumbled, you learned something. Every time you fell, you got back up with more wisdom. You are not the person you were yesterday. You've been forged by fire, tested in ways you never imagined, and now you are ready to face whatever comes next. You have to stop waiting for someone else to tell you that you're worthy. Stop seeking approval from people who have never truly seen you. The world doesn't define your worth, you do. And the fact that you're still here, still fighting, still pressing forward, that speaks volumes about your strength. Think of the greatest heroes you've ever heard of. Think of the people who inspire you, who seem larger than life. They weren't born heroes. They were born with the same doubts, the same fears, the same struggles. The only thing that separated them from the rest of the world is that they didn't quit. They didn't let their pain defeat them. They let it shape them. They let it empower them. And that's what you need to do now. Every failure you've experienced is a lesson in disguise. Every rejection is a lesson in resilience. Every mistake is a stepping stone to success. You have been building your foundation for greatness without even realizing it. Every moment you felt like giving up, you've actually been getting stronger. Every time you felt defeated, you've actually been gaining the experience that will propel you forward. You are no longer the person who shies away from challenges. You are the person who faces them head on. You are the person who rises after every fall. You are the person who doesn't back down when the world tells you that you're not enough. You are the person who knows that every setback is simply another opportunity to get stronger. Look at your journey. It is not a series of misfortunes. It is a test of resilience. And every test you've passed has prepared you for the challenges that lie ahead. The truth is, you're stronger than you think. And the best part, you haven't even scratched the surface of your potential yet. Imagine this. Every time you were told you couldn't do something, you proved them wrong. Every time someone doubted you, you came back stronger. That's who you are. You are the one who rises when the world tries to knock you down. You are the one who never stays down, who always comes back stronger, more focused, more determined. Now is the time to stop playing small. Now is the time to remind the world who you are. You are the hero of your story, and it's time to take your place at the center of it. No one can write your story but you. It's time to stop waiting for permission to be great. It's time to stop hiding behind the fear of judgment, behind the idea that you don't deserve success. You deserve everything that's coming to you. Pain is fuel. The wounds you carry will never define you, but they will shape you. They will turn you into the person you are destined to become. The person who has the strength, the courage, and the resilience to rise above everything that has tried to hold them back. So, stand tall, embrace every scar, every setback, every failure, because they've led you to this moment. And from this moment, you will continue to rise, to grow, and to become the person you were always meant to be. This is your time. This is your moment. And nothing, no one, will ever stop you again. The moment of awakening is here. The time has come for you to realize something that has been with you all along, but has remained hidden in the shadows of doubt and uncertainty. You've always had the power to transform your life. You were never a victim of circumstance. You were never at the mercy of fate, chance, or other people's opinions. You were the architect of your destiny all along. We've spent so much time believing that life was something happening to you, as if you were being tossed around in a storm, helpless and powerless. But the truth is far more powerful. You've been steering the ship the entire time, even when you thought you were adrift. Every decision you've made, every challenge you've faced, has been shaping you, molding you, preparing you for this very moment. This is not your breaking point, it is your breakthrough. Think about all the battles you've fought, every hardship, every rejection, every failure. You've often seen these as signs of your weakness, as proof that the world is against you, that you are destined for mediocrity. But now, the shift begins. Those struggles were never your downfall. They were the foundation of your strength. They were the very tests that have sculpted you into the person you are becoming. And the most important realization of all, you have always had the ability to overcome them. Every step, every decision, every moment has led you to this moment of clarity. But here's the twist. It wasn't the world that tried to keep you down. It was your own fear. Fear that you weren't enough. Fear that you couldn't handle the weight of your dreams. Fear that if you truly embraced your power, you would become something the world wasn't ready for. You feared your own potential, and in doing so, you allowed it to remain dormant for far too long. Now, you're awake. And the truth is, your power isn't just something that will change your life, it's something that already has. You've been waking up to the strength within you for some time, but the real awakening happens now, when you recognize that your greatest weapon has always been the fear you've instilled in others. Take a moment to reflect on that. Others fear your potential, not because you are weak, but because you are strong. The very power you've been hiding, the very strength you've been doubting, that's what scares them. You think your struggles made you weak. In reality, they made you untouchable. You've endured more than most could handle, and still you stand. And that's what others fear. Not your weaknesses, but your strength. Your weight, not your flaws, but your potential. Think about it. Every time you were told you couldn't do something, you pushed through. Every time someone doubted you, you became more determined. And while they saw a failure, you saw a lesson. While they saw a setback, you saw an opportunity for growth. That is the power you have, and now you have to own it. You've been hiding from your own potential because you feared what would happen if you embraced it fully. You've been hiding from your own potential because you feared what would happen if you embraced it fully. What would the world think of you? Would they love you? Would they accept you? Would they fear you? These questions, this hesitation, have kept you small. But here's the truth. The world will fear you when you step into your full power. And that fear is your ultimate weapon. The fear that others have of you is not a reflection of your inadequacy. It is a reflection of your untapped potential. This fear you've instilled in others, it is not a weakness, it is proof of your strength. People fear what they don't understand, and they fear what they cannot control. And when you tap into your true potential, when you embrace everything you are capable of, you become something they cannot control, and that terrifies them. But it should empower you. You see, it's not the circumstances that define your fate, it's how you respond to them. You have always had the power to decide how your story unfolds. You've always had the power to choose whether you rise or fall. The pain you've felt, the struggles you've endured, they have been the forge that has shaped you into the warrior you are becoming. But now you must step fully into that power. No one can stop you unless you let them, and no one can take away your strength unless you allow them to. Fear of your potential is the ultimate weapon, because it is the thing that holds others back from seeing your true power. And when you realize this, when you finally see that the very thing they fear about you is the thing you've been running from all this time, you will understand that the key to your transformation was never outside of you. It has always been inside. This is where you shift. You stop seeing yourself as the underdog. You stop seeing yourself as someone who is trying to fight against the odds. You realize that you are the odds. You are the one who can't be controlled. You are the one who can't be broken. And from this moment forward, you will never again shrink to fit someone else's expectations. You will stand tall in your own power, knowing that the fear you've instilled in others is the fear of your limitless potential. Now is the time to own your power. Step into your greatness. Let the world see the force you've been hiding all this time. Let them feel the weight of your potential, because when you rise fully, when you embrace your power without hesitation, you will change everything. Not just for yourself, but for everyone around you. You will change the course of your life, and you will change the course of the world. So, do not shrink. Do not apologize for your power. Embrace it. Let them fear you, because that fear is the proof that you are exactly who you were meant to be. It is the proof that you are destined for greatness. And greatness is not something that needs permission. It is something you take. Now is your time. The ultimate transformation is not just about achieving success or overcoming obstacles. It is about becoming the person you were always meant to be, the version of you that has always been waiting to emerge, the person who is not only capable of greatness, but destined for it. And the most important realization? You are already that person. You've always been that person. You've spent so much of your life doubting your worth, hiding your power, playing small to fit into someone else's idea of what you should be. But now, the fog has lifted. You are no longer the person who apologizes for their strength. You are no longer the person who seeks approval or hides from your potential. You are the person who walks into a room and demands respect, not because you ask for it, but because you've earned it. Think back to who you were just a few months ago, or even just a few weeks ago. The version of you that was unsure, fearful, uncertain of their path, that person is gone. They are fading into the background, a shadow of the powerful force you've now become. Every fear, every hesitation, every ounce of self-doubt you carried with you is now dissolving into nothingness because you no longer need it. You are shedding the weight of the past, the weight of old limitations, and stepping into your truth. Now, you are the person who wakes up every day with purpose, with the knowledge that today is another opportunity to step closer to your destiny. You've unlocked the power that has always been inside you, and now it flows through you effortlessly. Your old self, the one who held back, who hesitated, who played small, that version of you is a distant memory. The new you is bold, unapologetic, confident beyond measure. Imagine your future self for a moment. This is not a version of you that is afraid of taking risks. This is a version of you that embraces challenges with open arms, knowing that every challenge is just another stepping stone on the path to greatness. You are no longer the person who asks for permission. You are the person who creates opportunities, who forges your own path, and who walks with authority and purpose. Your future self is the person who doesn't shrink away from discomfort. They face every obstacle head on, knowing that they have the tools to overcome anything that comes their way. They don't wait for the world to validate them. They validate themselves. They don't wait for others to tell them they're worthy. They already know their worth. They don't seek approval. They command respect. You're no longer living in the shadows of doubt. You are standing in the light of your own greatness, and that light is undeniable. People will see it. They will feel it. And the most powerful thing of all is that you won't need to prove it to anyone. The fear you once had, the uncertainty, the belief that you had to fit into someone else's mold, it's all gone. You are walking your truth now, and that is what makes you unstoppable. Every time you walk into a room, you will notice the eyes on you. You will feel the shift in the air as people recognize that something about you has changed. They will see the confidence you exude, the power in your presence, and they will wonder what happened. The truth is, you happened. You chose to step into your power. You chose to stop hiding. You chose to no longer let fear hold you back. And here's the thing. When you step into your greatness, people will fear you. Not because you are threatening, but because you are a reflection of everything they could have been but chose not to become. When they see your unapologetic confidence, your unshakable self-belief, they will be reminded of the fears they've buried deep within themselves. Your success, your power, your freedom, it will make them question their own choices, and that will make them uncomfortable. But here's the key: let them be uncomfortable. Because when people fear you, when they feel threatened by your potential, it is a sign that you have found your true calling. You have become the person they wished they were. You have become a living example of what happens when someone fully embraces their own power. You have become the person they fear most, because you have become the person you were always meant to be. Think about it. The fear in their eyes is not a reflection of your weakness, but of your power. They fear what they can't control. They fear what they can't understand, and what they can't understand is your potential. They can't understand how someone like you could rise from the ashes of doubt and become the force of nature that you are today. They can't understand how you've tapped into a power so vast, so limitless, that it makes everything else in their lives seem small. But here's the truth. It's not about them. It's about you. It's about you living your truth, stepping into your greatness, and embracing every single part of who you are. You have stepped into your full potential, and nothing, no one, will ever be able to take that from you. You are living your truth. You've done the work. You've faced the darkness. You've transformed, and now you stand in the light. Not as someone who is broken, not as someone who needed to be fixed, but as someone who has fully realized their worth. You are no longer the person who hides, who doubts, who shrinks. You are the person who walks with power, with purpose, with conviction. And as you move forward in this world, let the fear you see in others be your reminder that you are exactly where you need to be. You are no longer the person you once were. You are someone unrecognizable to your old self, a powerful, confident, unapologetic force. The person you've become is the person you were always meant to be. And this, my friend, is only the beginning. You've stepped into your greatness. You've found your true calling. And now, the world has no choice but to watch you rise. The final chapter of your transformation is here, and now it's time to take bold action. It's time to stop waiting for someone to give you permission to rise. It's time to stop looking to others for validation or approval. The time to act is now. The power you've discovered inside yourself is not meant to be kept in a box, waiting for the perfect moment to unleash it. The perfect moment is right now. You've spent too much time sitting on the sidelines, second-guessing yourself, wondering if you're truly worthy, wondering if you're truly capable. No more waiting, no more hesitation, no more wondering. The person you've become is not someone who waits for things to happen. They make it happen. The moment that you realize this truth, you step into your power. Choices, and once you step into your power, the world will have no choice but to take notice. So I challenge you, stop waiting for someone else to tell you that you're ready. You are ready. You've always been ready. All that's been standing in your way is the belief that you need someone else's permission. You don't need anyone's permission to be great. You don't need anyone's validation to step into your full potential. You are the only one who can give that to yourself. Look at the life you've been living up until now. How many opportunities have you let slip by because you were waiting for the right moment? How many chances have you missed because you were waiting for the world to tell you it was okay to go after what you wanted? The truth is, the world will never give you permission to be the person you were always meant to be. The world is not going to tell you, now is the time to step into your greatness. Only you can do that. The moment you stop seeking validation from others is the moment you fully step into your power. Think about it. How much of your life has been dictated by other people's opinions? How much energy have you wasted on trying to live up to someone else's expectations? No more. You are not here to fit into a mold. You are not here to live someone else's life. You are here to live your life, your truth. Right now, in this moment, you have the ability to decide who you are going to be from this point forward. No more looking back. No more worrying about what you should have done, or what others think of you, or how much time you've lost. That person is gone. That version of you who waited, who doubted, who second-guessed themselves, they no longer exist. Instead, you are now standing at the threshold of something greater. And I want you to understand this. You are not bound by your past. The things that have happened to you, the mistakes you've made, the pain you've felt, none of that has the power to dictate who you become next. You are free. Freedom is the ability to choose who you are, who you will become, and how you will move forward. You are not confined by what others expect of you. You are not bound by what you think you should do or by the beliefs that have been placed on you. You are only bound by the choices you make now. And today you have a choice. You have the choice to walk forward with confidence. You have the choice to leave behind the limiting beliefs that have held you back. You have the choice to step into your greatness and never look back. I know it's not always easy. I know there will be moments where you'll feel doubt creeping in, where the old voices of fear and uncertainty will try to convince you that you're not enough. But those voices are lies. They're not your truth. Your truth is power. Your truth is strength. Your truth is unshakable confidence. The time to act is now, not tomorrow, not next week, not when the stars align. Now. Right now. You have the power to change the trajectory of your life in this moment. The person you've always wanted to be is right in front of you, waiting for you to step into the life you were meant to live. This is your moment. This is your time. You are not defined by your past mistakes. You are not defined by the labels others have placed on you. You are not defined by the struggles you've faced, the pain you've endured, or the doubts you've had. You are defined by the choices you make now, and you are choosing to rise. You are choosing to step into the life you were meant to live. You are choosing to walk forward with confidence, knowing that you've made an indelible mark on this world. Your actions will speak louder than any words ever could. Your actions will speak louder than any words ever could. Your actions will speak louder than any words ever could. You will leave a legacy. The world will remember the person you are becoming, because when you walk into a room, when you stand in your truth, when you walk boldly toward your dreams without hesitation, the world will see it, and they will never forget it. So here's the declaration I want you to make to yourself right now. I am not waiting any longer. I am ready. I am enough. I am powerful. I am the creator of my own destiny, and I will not apologize for my greatness. You've waited long enough. Now is the time to act. You are ready. You are capable.